You're now entering the Rambling Veteran Podcast, where we discuss the hard truths affecting combat veterans today. Depression, PTSD, suicide, both successes and failures. How the service branches treat us, how the VA treats us, and our own country, for whom we served. And we're leaving no stone unturned. These are their stories. Hear them, feel them, and let them be a call to action. Welcome everyone. It's an honor to introduce my brother, Andy Goodman. Andy served the U.S. Army for 20 years and gave himself to 9 combat deployments in the infantry and as a Green Beret. He served as a sniper on the Crisis Reaction Force and 5th Special Forces Group and as an instructor of unconventional warfare. Andy is one of those dudes who always keeps it cool, but when it's time to get down to business, he'll be by your side without a question. Serving with him was such a blast because he can just subtly drop the most brutal of all jokes at the perfect moment, which is needed in all the fake seriousness that's all too common in today's military. We talked about how fast-paced everything was in retrospect in our careers, how it all flew by, and now we sat in this civilian purgatory between a regular life, air quotes, and the life that we know in Special Forces that we grew accustomed to. The fast-paced, goal-oriented, attack, laser focus, and alpha male-driven environment that accepts no weakness. Andy harnessed this mentality and applied it to golfing, but in typical Green Beret fashion, he turned it up a few hundred notches. Andy's instructing top golfers in Pinehurst, North Carolina, and quickly on his way to becoming a PGA pro golfer. It's been about 6 months since we kicked it, so I packed my deployment bag, still hanging tough after all these years, and made the 2-day trip from Fort Campbell, Kentucky to Pinehurst, North Carolina, stopping in the Smoky Mountains and enjoying the view along the way. There's something about taking this exit and seeing the big ATV store, and it just reminds me of being a kid and being with my family and grandparents. Pulling off now into Gatlinburg on my Harley. After just retiring from the Army, it made me ponder what kind of situation my grandpas were in when they returned home, from World War II and in Korea. Were they tackling similar problems coming back from the war? What gave them hope and optimism? How did they look out for the brothers and sisters they served with? What would they say to Andy and I if they were sitting in that golf shop? What we would have joked about and what we would have cried about? What we would have told about and what we would have lied about? The truth with a capital T that us veterans would cut into within just one discussion. Every conversation I have with Andy is just that. We'll be making a stepbrother reference while talking about machine gun trajectories, and then seamlessly transition into how there has to be some sort of highly structured ancient civilization that we must learn about and tap into their ancient past wisdom. So pulling away for the 550-mile trip gave me the strong feeling that my grandpas were right there with me on that highway, and that their brotherhood was somehow being passed on through this trip. And that's what I loved about the trip and the ride. Ripping through the Smoky Mountains where Tennessee outlaws and bootleggers ran the hills and they ran to their own code. When the wind's pushing your helmet back at 90 miles an hour, yet you pull the throttle more and more and you let your thoughts just drift away as the sun sets. No cruise control, no fairing blocking the elements, just the rumbling of the pipes on about the same bike they would have rode back then. Marching to our own beats in life now, carving new paths forward and forging new identities. Andy and I have walked through a lot together. He reminds me of how we should always look out for the veterans to our right and to our left, and how Brotherhood is more than just a slogan.
Greetings. Welcome to the Rambling Veteran. I am Micah, and I'm here with my brother, Andy Goodman. Good to have you.
Yeah. Good to see you, man. It's been a while.
Or thanks for having me at your golf facility. Tell the audience where we're at right now.
Right now we're at, I have to look at the thing.
Sure, yeah, wherever you want to look. I don't
We're
care.
at Gulf Augusta of North Carolina in Southern Pines, and it is pretty much the only golf shop in the county, at least, that does what we do. So,
Heck
pretty
yeah.
cool place.
I love it, man. Perfect weather, perfect day. Rode out here. It was like, got a good gym workout in. Like, can't complain. And now we're both retired, but we were saying earlier that even after we retired from the Army, as busy as we were in Special Forces, we're still like busier than we ever been. Would you agree in our lives?
Yeah. And might be just like trying to just figure stuff out. So we're just doing everything.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, pretty much. So
that's how I feel right now. I don't know if it's like just an act of desperation or it's like, okay, I haven't like found my true calling and purpose yet, whatever it is, but like, I feel like I'm throwing a lot right now.
Or just trying to find something else to be excellent at.
Yes.
Because
something worthy of devoting your attention and your motivations to.
Yeah, because that other stuff's gone now.
Yeah, all the fun stuff, the guns.
Gone, so. Yeah, weird.
The deployments, the workup, you always had like a mission in front of you. You're always like something to attack. You're with your boys. Like life was good. It was a freaking heyday. It was like the Bulls when they were at their, at their height. That's how I felt in that stuff.
I always feel like I have to have a goal and be driven towards something, or I'll just fizzle out and die or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
You're like a Belgian Malinois. Like you need purpose.
Yeah.
And I think we're all like that.
Purpose, direction, motivation.
Exactly. Yeah. Leadership, right? Well, tell the audience, like, who is Andy Goodman?
All right. Andy Goodman. I retired from the Army last month, August 10th.
Congrats. 20 years?
Yeah. Yep. 20 years, 2 days.
Nice.
I joined the Army in 2003. Grew up in St. Louis. Joined the Army from there in 2003, 2 months after high school because of 9/11. That was super mad, just like devastated when that happened. So joined the Army, went on 9 deployments throughout my time.
Dang.
To Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Israel. Probably something I'm forgetting about, but yeah, it was a pretty crazy time. Then you blink and it's over.
That's how you feel about it?
Yeah, then it's time to start new stuff.
Then we're talking like the 22nd year anniversary of 9/11 just a couple days ago, right? And you're like 22 years ago, like my son wasn't even alive, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Yeah, did 4 years in infantry and then the rest of it in SF. So 4 years and 16 years in SF. Was at 5th Special Forces Group for a while, and then came down here to North Carolina, be a Robin Sage instructor, and retired out of that.
Where were you at in the infantry before SF?
I was in Germany in bomb holder, and served in 1/6 infantry in 1st AD, and then went to the 101st. And that's when I saw Green Berets for my first time. I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. I should do that because that pussy ain't got nothing on me. I can do what he does, probably even better. I'm going to go do that. So.
And that was like the heyday, like Iraq, Afghanistan, and you saw these dudes in the mix, right?
Yeah. Well, my first SF deployment was like the end of OIF, start of OND.
Okay.
So we were in country when they're like, okay, it's New Dawn now.
Like 2010, I think.
Yeah.
Around there, yeah.
It was like summer 2010, something like that.
Yeah. And I remember, like, do you remember, so when were you in the Q course?
2009 through 10.
Okay, yeah, same time I was there.
Yeah.
And it was funny, like, you just see, because that was my first experience in the Army, right? I went straight out of college, and like the fifth group dudes were just a different flavor. And I guess you saw
Yeah.
that at Fort Campbell, but they were like the mean dudes, like kind of farm boys, like
Yeah.
lifted weights, just mean at the world.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's this guy's problem? But they were freaking killers and always had sage advice. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's who we were raised by.
Yeah. Well, I'd see like being in the infantry, and we were like on whatever FOB in Iraq, and seeing the SF dudes roll around.
Mhm.
We're like adhering to all these uniform standards and stuff, and they're just walking up, button in front of the chow line and board shorts and stuff.
With your
Riding around on
PT belt
ATVs.
on,
Yeah.
on the camp. You're like, why am I wearing
Like,
this, dude?
man, these guys are cool. I want to cut in front of people too. No, I didn't cut in front of anybody.
Well, that's cool, man. So you did a deployment in the infantry, or how many did you do?
Two.
Two. Okay.
Two.
Where at?
First one was Baghdad. The second one was El Anbar province.
Okay. Okay.
In Hit. So it was like 20 Ks from Ramadi, I think.
Alrighty. Was
like
it hot then?
Right in the hot zone during the surge.
Oh,
So
really?
That was the real deal.
2006, right?
Yeah.
You got any cool stories about that, or how the deployment go in general? Because you were how old at that time? 21.
I turned 21 on the plane to Iraq.
Okay.
And
right.
yeah, so like our first day, guy from another platoon got his leg blown off. The first day, the first patrol. Like I watched him.
Jesus.
Yeah, I watched him leave, turn the corner, and then explosion, gunfire, and then they all came back. It was like within an hour.
Dang.
Like, what do we get ourselves into? And then it was even more freaky because the Marines we ripped out,
Mhm.
they took all their extra ammo, flashbangs, I think grenades too, threw them in like the burn pit that was on fire. And so you have a firefight going on one side, all this ammo exploding on the other side. It's just absolute chaos. So that was day one.
All right.
Yeah, the rest of the days were not too far from that. So
it's definitely a Marine type move. I mean, I believe that. It's like, yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Yeah, send whatever you want to say, man. Yeah.
They had it was like a jack shack.
Mm-hmm.
So they had like we stayed in this old hotel, and there was like this back room, and you go in the room, and there's literally like
get a knock 3 times.
It's like well, it's like it had like a curtain over it, so it didn't have a door. It had like a curtain. You go in the room, it's like this dark, musty room, like looked like a jail cell, like 6x6, with like a chair in the middle of it, and all of the walls are covered in porn.
Oh my god, dude!
So
what kind of porn?
Was
it Arab porn or American or what flavor?
Probably everything you could think of. I don't remember really.
Yeah,
that was almost 20 years ago. But yeah, it was like you walk in and you're like, oh my god, and they were like shitting in corners inside, and yeah.
Did the Marines own this area you're talking about right now?
I'm not sure. I think it was Army running that.
Okay.
That AO, but yeah, not trash talking all Marines, but those ones specifically were.
They like their jack shack. I mean, you can't even get mad at them. It's like, we got all the stresses of war here. We're gonna have this freaking jack room. You know? Yeah. This is ours. We're proud of it.
Yeah, I guess.
Was that enlightening for you as like a young man to like see that, to walk into war and like see that happen to like another young man, and then to see like the disparity, like, God, this is where I'm staying at. This is real right here, you know?
Yeah, like the reality set in when I mentioned the dude got his leg blown off.
Yeah.
That was like the first time I'd seen anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, so I'm in war now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was definitely shocking and eye-opening. It's kind of like, damn, I need to get my game face on for like 14 months.
Yeah, because that was like day one.
Yeah.
And dude, you hear like we have this dark sense of humor, I guess similar to cops, they say, and firefighters and everything, and I guess it gets us by or whatever, but like we're extremely sarcastic. And I know you and I are like that big time when we talk, but you develop that personality because you see all that sad crap, and then it's like the only way to cope with it right then and move on. But then like later on, of course, you got to think about it. You're like, oh man, that really sucks. That was a good kid right there, you know?
Yeah. Well, it definitely helps to joke about that stuff.
It does, yeah, for whatever odd psychological reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like any like cops or like trauma ER dudes, and yeah, I think like dark humor is pretty common across any type of job where you see stuff that you're not supposed to,
Yeah,
or
yeah, it
see
is.
stuff that most people don't. So,
Like when I was at Walter Reed, man, getting freaking heart surgery, I wake up the next day and I remember at night this dude screaming next to me and he's like dying. He literally died, right? He was wanting medicine all night and then like I remember like the little nurse area was right across the room and I could hear them all hang out, right? And they're over there talking about CrossFit and dating and like Tinder or something. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, like this guy's dying, asking him for pills. Just give him a freaking pill. And
yeah,
you're over here talking about Tinder dates, you know?
they're like the 100th one they've seen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, I'm not working in that. I'm not even calling them out because I don't know what the whole situation was. But like,
Yeah,
it just sucks. I right now can never be in a detached situation like that because I'm like, it
that's
pulls at
crazy.
your heart when you hear another man crying.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had, yeah, that second deployment was, yeah, a lot of things that I never, well, I'm not going to say I never thought I'd experience because I joined the infantry for a reason, but um, definitely a lot of first times, like war type stuff.
Really,
Yeah.
like what
Like, oh,
else?
that's what a bullet sounds like when it goes by you.
Right by
It's
your
like this
face.
deafening crack.
Yeah.
Like, or just like seeing friends die. Like, yeah, seeing bad guys die, that's cool. But then you see your friend
Hmm.
who's an American soldier die. Like, damn.
So you had a good buddy die on that trip.
Yeah, yeah, he was one of my best friends. He got, um, he got shot. It went in his, I think his front of his right shoulder and came out of his shoulder blade. So the shoulder blade shattered
Hmm.
and shredded his carotid artery.
Oh my God! As it went up in there.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't just like it was cut; it was shredded. So there was nothing anyone can do. He was fucked.
Jeez.
So yeah, that was pretty gnarly. Um,
Were you with him?
yeah, like just on the other side of this doghouse on top of the roof,
Hmm.
and then yeah, that was wild. So little
Jeez.
firefight, secure the area, and get him out of there.
Who were you guys fighting at the time?
It was AQI over
Okay.
there, and whoever other dudes who get mad and decide to pick up a rifle.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know,
All the
I
random
think that
offshoots.
that might have been most of it. I don't think AQI was doing a lot of their own stuff. They're probably just paying people to,
They're paying, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
mentally retarded people and,
yeah, kids,
kids, yeah, to go
whatever.
put a bomb in
They
them.
had. I taught this in my Robin Sage classes. Um, Al Qaeda was. We thought it was coming from Al Qaeda, and it makes sense. There was, because why else would this exist? There was a
Hmm.
kid. I guess he had like a little cart. It was full of toy guns, and he's like, um, he was selling toy guns, trying to sell toy guns to us.
Hmm.
And I almost shot this kid because I turn a corner because we're on patrol because we're the infantry. We just walk around in the street,
Really full armor and everything in the middle of Iraq.
all the stuff,
Yeah.
and I see this kid with like an almost full size AK, but it's like plastic.
Oh, dang.
I almost shoot this kid, and I realize it's like I aimed right at his face, and I realize that it's uh, not a real gun.
Jeez. Like
But
airsoft or something.
yeah, like an airsoft gun or something. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
it's not a real gun. But yeah, I was like, I wonder if those dudes, like the AQI guys, will like have kids sell fake guns. Kids walking around with fake guns in the street, they get shot. We can blame it on Americans.
Hmm.
So I don't think that's too out of the realm of possibility.
No, no. I mean, we saw a million other examples that allude to that same
Yeah,
thing. It was a
yeah,
constant propaganda play. And that's the crazy thing. It was a constant propaganda play 20 years ago. And now, with the advent of like all this social media, I'm sure the viewers, you and I have seen, and we taught even that the importance of information operations and propaganda and how that has to be mated to basically every operation, success or failure nowadays. And because the first message that gets out there typically is a message that wins, even if it's not even based in reality or truth. And the truth
yeah,
is, all these people running around with cameras, and even 20 years ago, that was happening in Iraq at a much smaller scale. But now when we look at the evolution of that and like Ukraine in 2023, it's freaking insane how like we right now in Southern Pines, North Carolina, can have a pretty good handle just simply by checking like Live Leak or TikTok on Ukraine of like what's going on in the battlefield.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no more like evening news. Tom Brokaw tells us what happened in Bakhmut, you know, in Ukraine today.
Or like,
thank God too, because it's all bullcrap.
Or even just like the invasion of Iraq.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid just watching that on live TV. Like, I'm watching an invasion right now.
Bombs falling, shock and awe.
Like, this is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it motivate you? Like, how do you feel at that time? We're just like, I want to kill, man. It's freaking 9/11. Let's get revenge.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember crying. I was so mad.
Really?
And being really frustrated and impatient because I was 17 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't join the army yet. I mean, you can with your parents' consent or whatever, but I still had to finish high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just like wishing I was old enough to go right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, got there as soon as I could. But yeah, so yeah, it is pretty crazy how we can watch a war go on, and then also the flip side of that, you get all the information that people need, but also on the flip side of that, people think they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I saw this on TikTok, so I have a valid opinion now. Like, well, you haven't seen anything firsthand, so why don't you just shut up there?
Yeah.
You know,
and
you're allowed to have an opinion, but don't act like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like there were numerous examples, and I think I covered one of them in the podcast earlier somewhere about videos that Ukraine was using as the initial propaganda push. And one was like a Ghost of Ukraine, some fighter pilot guy. One was like Snake Island or some kind of like island down there in Crimea. I don't even know, right? Or Odessa near there. And all these valiant, you know, fighters from Ukraine fought off the Russians and they all got killed. And then there was another something near Kiev, I believe, right? 3 separate, totally separate stories. And they turned out to be from like 2014, like the Maidan Revolution or whatever it was. They weren't even related to like the current push, but they were using them and recycling the footage and using it as propaganda and being very successful at it because people back in America and all over the world believe that that was a true story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just guns and bombs. It's, you know, there's also the psychological side to it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
especially now.
That's a huge reason why Vietnam didn't work out for us, because the American people didn't support it.
Mm-hmm.
But did they really know what was going on over there? Maybe some did, but I'd say the majority didn't.
No, they're just living out in their hut, man, growing rice or whatever.
Yeah.
So do you, crazy. When you came back, that was 15 months, you said, the deployment?
It was 14. So it was supposed to be 12. It got extended to 14.
Okay. How were you feeling at the end of that? Were you like worn out, or were you like, I want to stay in, I love this?
I wanted to stay in because I was still having fun in the Army, but I came back a little different. Not like weird, like sleeping on the floor in the bathroom and freaking out kind of stuff, but like I used to be pretty off the walls, like just endless energy, kind of crazy guy, but I had calmed down a lot after that.
Okay.
Kind of like a little bit more mature in how I see things, and you know, that's kind of how I felt. I was like, I feel different, not like in a bad way.
Yeah. You matured a lot, I'm sure, when you came back to your family after those 14 months.
Yeah, definitely. It's a tough experience for a kid to go through.
Yeah.
You're a kid. You're 21, like legally a man and can make your own decisions and have real consequences, but you're a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a kid with a machine gun.
No prefrontal cortex development, nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, you know, our men can join the Army and die for their country, but can't buy a beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's kind of pretty crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, brother.
But
So you get back, and where'd you go from there? Did you go to selection after that, or you did one
Right
more?
from there, so I was already getting ready to PCS. So we got back to Germany, and I just got going on PCS and went to Fort Campbell, joined the 101st, and they were like, "Hey, you're just in time. Let's go to Afghanistan." And I was like, "Okay, um, I don't want to be called a coward here, but I just got back from a 14-month deployment in Al Anbar province, and I kind of needed a little bit of dwell time. Can I join you guys late on the deployment, like maybe halfway through or something?"
What they say?
And well, they were like, "Well, we're just going to put you in PSD." Like, okay, fine. So went to Division PSD, which was actually pretty fun because it was a lot of it was all infantry guys,
Hmm.
and um, got a fire team and got to you know, show these young kids. I was a kid myself, but
Yeah.
show these new guys kind of what it's like to be in infantry and what it means to be an infantryman. And then I was probably in the 101st for a year because I went right to selection, um, probably 6 months after I got to Campbell.
Hmm.
So,
Did you do a PSD deployment at all?
no, we had a deployment coming up, and that was another Afghanistan deployment. USASOC overrode my deployment orders, and they were like, "You're coming to the Q course."
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Okay, so there I went.
So then
And
you
then,
flip over. Did you choose to go to fifth group, or what was your thoughts
yeah, I
then?
picked fifth group because I went up. I couldn't think of what group I wanted to go to. Fifth group was obviously a first choice, maybe because it's about 4.5, 5 hours from St. Louis, where I grew up.
Okay.
Um, but I really wanted to go to 10th group too because Colorado's amazing.
Yeah.
But then first group is up in Pacific Northwest, which is also beautiful.
Hmm.
Man, there's so many options. So I went up to one of the instructors. You remember our Q course instructors? Those
Yeah.
guys. They're the guys riding horses in Afghanistan. They're
Yeah. They were the
straight up
real.
murderers.
Yep.
And so I'm like, "Oh, Sergeant, what group should I go to? Because I can't decide." And he's like, "Did you come to SF to kill people, or did you come to SF to get TDY money and party?" I'm like, "Oh, kill people. I want more war because all the infantry is not doing war, so I want to go where the fighting is." He's like, "Okay, you go to fifth group or third group. Those are the main killing people groups. All the other ones, they don't do shit." I was like, "All right, yep, fifth group it is." So
Oh,
there I was for 8 years, 8, 9, I think 9 years.
yeah.
Yeah, it was 9 years. I was fifth group for 9 years.
Yeah. We had like exact timelines almost.
Yeah,
You were in first battalion, right?
third and then first.
Third and then 1st.
Mhm.
Okay. How was your experience over there? Did you enjoy it? Were you happy? Were you satisfied when you got over after the infantry? You get over to fifth group.
It was awesome. It's the best job I ever had. I loved. I'm not gonna say I loved every day, but well, some days really sucked. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was awesome. And then I don't know. There's so many people running around fifth group. Oh, I hate fifth group. It's so stupid.
Hmm.
Like, dude, I'm having a blast. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I had a great time
Fifth group
too.
is awesome.
Most of it was
Yeah.
awesome. There's of course some gayness and everything, but like it is what it is. You're in the army,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. And then there's like you'd go to different schools and stuff with all different SF guys, especially like SLC or something,
Hmm.
and you see that'd be like probably like that was my first experience seeing other groups and how they act and stuff. And I mean, sorry to all the other groups, but none of the other groups are anywhere close to fifth group.
Everybody knows it. It's not even like a thing. I mean, because we both work in the Q course,
Yeah,
and you get to work around other group guys, right? And you see a certain, I don't know, like standardization. Like everybody has their own personality
yeah,
and characterization.
yeah,
So like fifth group does, like we act our own certain type of dudes, right?
yeah,
And then first group has their own eclectic ways of doing things, and
yeah,
they think different. But you need that, right?
yeah,
They're working a specific AOR. We're working a specific AOR, which freaking sucks. Like even your J sets are like combat deployments.
yeah,
So like
pretty much.
it breeds different people, and you need all of that to make it work, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, could you imagine like fifth group going into what, South America or something?
Oh, it'd be
Like,
ugly. Yeah, it would be freaking torched.
Just
Fields, hellfire
like,
and brimstone.
how do we get in a firefight in the streets here? Let's figure this out.
Where's the cartel?
Yeah, where are they? Let's go kill them.
My buddy, you know him too. I won't mention his name on the podcast, but we were just working together last week, and he made some kind of comment about the disparity between like a fifth group dive team and like a first group Halo team, and I'm like, okay, I get the parable you're trying to say right now. It was funny. But I'm like, yeah, that's a whole different type of group of humans right there.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah. So, have you been to the fifth group footprint lately?
Yeah.
Do they
Actually,
still
just
have
worked
that
out there.
stupid plane over
Yeah,
there?
in the middle. Yeah,
It's the dumbest
it's gonna
thing
be
ever.
a Halloween next month. If you guys want to go, I have a big Halloween haunted house. It's actually pretty darn scary. They put a strobe light in there, and you
Oh, cool.
push your kids through there and walk through. It's cool.
We were talking about they should make that
A
like
bar, yeah.
like the Legion bar, and like you go in, it's only open at a certain open
Yeah,
at 5
o'clock. Yeah.
and it's like a detail, like you got bar detail this month, and you're the bartender, and then everybody else can come in and just get drinks inside a C-130. That'd be awesome.
Do something right. Yeah. Do something right, fifth group.
No, they're not going to do that.
Make it a bar.
Because we'd ruin it in like a week.
Yeah, that's true. Fist fights and everything, man.
Yeah. Yep. This was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Did you have pretty cool trips at fifth group? How do you enjoy it?
Yeah, they were fun, man. We did my first trip was Iraq up in Mosul. And that was like 9 months or so.
What year was that?
2010.
Okay.
And that was a blast because it was like my first SF trip, and I'm just like 25 years old, just like, and the only Bravo.
Yeah.
So I'm just like drinking through a fire hose, just trying to learn as much as I can. And then, so our fire base had us and one other team. So that other team would show me the ropes too. And, I just get farmed out, like going on op with my team, going on op with the other team, like
Nice.
as much exposure as I can. It was pretty cool. And
what was the big push out there? You had ISI start to develop in Mosul around that time period, right?
Yeah. It was kind of like a whisper back then. So it hadn't really we weren't doing anything about it. We were just kind of tying loose ends, like following like warrants and stuff, and just kicking down people's doors and nabbing them up in their sleep, kind of thing. But yeah, really no, I didn't get any. Yeah, no fights on that trip. Things were pretty calm because it was kind of like the calm before the next storm, I guess.
Yeah.
ISIS. But yeah, we're just kind of nabbing people up. We didn't get nabbed up earlier.
Yeah, and the government was really trying. I remember at that time period, Noria Malachi and the other dude, I forget. And then you had, what's his face, Muqtada al-Sadr up there doing his own thing. So it was very factionalized and regionalized.
Yeah.
And then Ramadi out there was doing their own Sunni stuff. So they were still fighting for the government and who the U.S. was going to specifically back. And then that SOFA agreement, which they never agreed upon.
Yeah.
Which is why the U.S. ultimately pulled out the next year. But yeah, I remember that. I mean, it still wasn't confirmed like that the U.S. was going to back Maliki or that other dude.
Yeah.
And then the Sunnis were pissed off out west.
Yeah.
Because they're like, no, we see what you're doing here. You're making a play, and you're putting Maliki in there.
Yeah.
And then he started going after all the Sunni dudes in Parliament.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was already talk about giving the fob up to the Iraqis, which fine, it's their country.
But yeah.
We were already like inventorying stuff, like where are we going to leave here? What can we take back with us? All this and that. And so it was kind of got to the game a little late on the SF side because we were kind of winding down. But at least I got to go to Syria. That was fun.
Okay, yeah. Were you early in Syria?
No, kind of a little bit late in the game on that one too.
Yeah.
So the only thing I was on time for is like when I was in the infantry. But yeah, I got to Syria after most of the bad guys were dead, but it was still pretty fun. But
were you with the SDF at the time, or who?
I was in 1st Battalion. Yeah, I was in 1st Battalion doing battalion ops, sergeant, and then filling in for the sergeant major and stuff. And I was like, man, this is gonna be good. I want to make E8.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. So I don't know how they make that decision. You can do everything that that career progression list.
Yeah, yeah.
Like do all these things. Like cool, I did all the things. Can I get promoted? Nope. Damn it. Why?
Yeah, and you look at that list every year and like, that guy made it? Like, what?
Yeah. That guy made it. He's an idiot.
Yeah. That's a joke. Did you enjoy that? Did you work with the Syrian Democratic Forces, the Kurds there? Who did you work with?
It was
Or what area were you in?
why am I drawing a blank? We were pretty close to Manbij, hanging
You're
out
probably
over at the
definitely,
LCF.
Okay,
You
okay.
remember where that is?
Yep, yep.
It was a good time, I guess. I mean, lived and ate like shit.
Yeah.
And that was probably, I was sicker over there than when I had COVID. I went over there like every hour for like 2 or 3 days.
Was it the food, like the milk they put on the rice?
It was something.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, we'd give old boy some cash and he'd go out into the town and bring back some food.
Yeah.
And so who knows what it was? Probably that. I don't know.
Yeah, we lived on chicken and rice for most of that trip, and I remember getting sick like that too, having to take Cipro just to like survive,
Yeah.
and like, ugh.
Do you know the story about that tower at LCF?
What happened with it?
Yeah.
When it got attacked or what?
Yeah, when ISIS took over the factory.
I remember them. Yeah, when they took it and everything. I don't know the story behind it.
They were so that big giant tower.
Mm-hmm.
We do like kit runs up that thing and like see who's the fastest.
Yeah.
But
what was your best time?
Oh man, I was pretty fast back then. I wasn't the fastest though. I think I held second place.
Yeah.
I can't remember what my time was. But yeah, the guy who beat everybody was like this little 20-year-old support kid that didn't have injuries yet. So, but yeah, they would. They told us that ISIS would they would bring people up to the top of this tower. This thing's like 200 feet tall.
Uh-huh.
They'd throw them off the tower and shoot them on their way down from the top of the tower. And they'd, hit the bottom.
I didn't know that, no.
That's like the most evil thing. Like just factory worker.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a just key piece of terrain. And were you there when the Russians attacked it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, attacked the LCF?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was there when those Russians were shooting at CAG.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting at them, and then CAG killed all of them.
Was it the
like
Wagner group?
Huh?
The Wagner group?
Yeah.
Those dudes?
Yeah, it was like the Russian Blackwater dudes.
Yeah, the Wagner group,
and they were starting some shit, and they fucked around and found out.
Yeah,
so,
a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working something else in the north around that time period, like right when that happened,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hearing about it, I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah. Like, shit's real over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I thought it was really cool just to, like, oh, I've been to Iraq a whole bunch of times, like, I'm gonna go to a different theater and see what's going on over there.
Yeah.
And so it was weird because it was a lot greener than I thought it'd be.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Syria? Yeah, it's actually really pretty.
It is, yeah.
It's a pretty nice little country.
The people are pretty. There's really interesting people there, like perfect English. You're like, whoa. You know, like just interesting people you meet.
Yeah. You were in Aleppo, weren't you?
Yeah, north of,
At the start of it.
Yep.
Pretty awesome.
And that was beautiful too. And you see the disparity of like a beautiful country. I think Aleppo had 2 million people at the time, but they all filtered out, because they were getting hit constantly. And then you saw like the Russians got involved heavily because Latakia and Tartus began to fall like to the Free Syrian Army, right? And Tartus is like a warm water port. Free Syrian Army controlled most of Aleppo at that time.
Yeah.
You had ISIS off to like the east, out towards like the Kurdish controlled areas, Afrin and Azaz right there. And the Russians got involved because Tartus was their only warm water port. So they started pilfering dudes in there.
Right.
And then they did a whole freaking air campaign when we were there and, in Aleppo. And they freaking turned that city into like just straight up rubble. Like rubble. Beautiful place. And it was just nothing afterwards.
It was like when I went to Raqqa, like I've never seen an entire city. There wasn't one building without holes in it.
Yeah, that's
I've
messed
never
up.
seen an entire city look like that.
Yeah, it's sad, man.
It was crazy. And there were still people living their lives,
Hmm.
walking around. This place, it was like a Twilight Zone or something.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this my whole life.
The weird thing about Rocket too, you're like, it's weird that people live like right here, out of all this desert right here.
Yeah.
It's just kind of random. But then when you would go somewhere like Dara or somewhere like Aleppo or Latakia, especially where you see the terrain, you're like, okay, it makes sense that people would live here.
Mm-hmm.
But then some other spots out there in the desert, you're like,
Yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. And like, how'd they set up here? Like, how'd this work out?
Yeah. Where do they get water from?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you see somebody in the middle of the desert just hanging out, living their life. And you're like, what in the world? How'd your life start here, bro?
Yeah.
How'd you end up here?
We see that in Jordan a lot.
Like, in the tents.
Yeah, it's the nomads. Like, man, you're the real deal, dude.
Yes.
Looking
Hardened,
all
man.
like from Bible times or something.
Yeah, walking out, man, knowing like perfect Arabic, like intellectual Arabic.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, the guy's intelligent somehow. I mean,
like you don't look it, but he's got like a master's or something, like a PhD in like whatever.
yeah, man. One time
PhD in sheep herding.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
They want your ammo. They'll come right in the middle of a firefight and try to get your freaking ammo.
Yeah.
Your brass and the shells and all that. And this dude did that. We were training out
Yeah,
there.
because they melt the brass down and pretty lucrative. Like those rednecks down in Hoffman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, buy it, melt the brass down. And
They know
reuse
where all the ambush spots are and everything.
They do.
Gather it all up. Yeah.
We chased them off a few times. I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this dude.
Some of them are. Yeah, like that dude at Sim City we saw.
Yeah. We were hunting, I think, which
Mhm.
I didn't even think. I mean, hopefully nobody watched, but like we weren't even supposed to be hunting there. He's just riding a 4-wheeler around or something.
Yeah, and then he was on foot for a while, and then
Yeah,
like,
I remember
hey,
that.
and he's like gone. Like,
Yep, that's funny, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So were you there? Like, I agree, man. Syria felt like that to me. It was like, okay, I was on the back end of Iraq, and it's like, okay, this is ours, man. This is like kind of textbook UW. Like we're there mixing in with the people, kind of laying low. Nobody really knows we're here. And going out and doing like the early phases of UW, taking terrain. You can see like ISIS over in that town over there. You can see the regime over there. It's freaking balls to the wall, freaking tow missiles, just mortars dropping. Like it was real war.
Yeah.
To me, it was as a young man. I was like, okay, this is what I signed up for right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Wild West, that's how it felt.
Yeah. I haven't been in like the early phases of UW, but I always thought it'd be pretty interesting. Everything I did was just kinetic, like they're here, drive the trucks up, go get them.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So, I don't know. Like my SF time was like just a continuation of the infantry.
What was it?
Except we had longer hair. And, so,
and mine was different.
And we fought a little bit smarter.
Yeah. But fun as hell. So how'd you feel when they told you? Because I remember you were part of me and all these dudes. I didn't even know you then, but when we came out here, 5th Group kind of dodged the bullet on SWIC for years because we were hot in Syria and Iraq. And then I remember it was like 2017 or whatever, that list came out, and it was like 74 of us. It was like literally 1/5 of our operators there. And they're like, hey, you were all going to SWIC. And you're like, what, dude?
Yeah, that was wild.
How do you feel when they told you that?
I volunteered for SWIC.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I wanted to volunteer because I was like, okay, I'm coming up on like, dusk in my career, basically. Like it's nearing the end.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go do. I'm going to go volunteer for something so I don't get voluntold. So I'm like, I'm going to go be a sniper instructor. So volunteer for that. It's all locked in. Came down here, ended up in Sage anyway because they're hurting for guys, and I guess that was the thing at the time. Like anyone coming into SWIC is going to Robin Sage because they were just skeleton crew.
Were you happy about that?
At first, I was pretty pissed off.
Because you wanted to be a sniper instructor.
Yeah, I wanted to be a sniper instructor. Because that's what I did pretty much my whole career is sniper stuff. And so got to Sage, I'm all mad, and then start my first class, I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of fun doing and teaching those kids, setting them straight before they go to group.
Mm.
So yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was really rewarding, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really rewarding, and also pretty frustrating when you get guys who are acting up, and then you got to like recycle them or kick them out or whatever. And it's just like you feel it too, because you're like, I went through the Q course, and I
It
know what it
sucks.
feels
Yeah,
like
you
to
don't
be
want to
like,
do it. Yeah.
yeah. So like, who am I to like tell this kid he can't go forward?
Yeah.
You know, but it's whatever. It's the job. So, but yeah, it was really rewarding when you get guys who just crush it and they had a great time
Mm-hmm.
and learned a lot, and they're taking you seriously, and then they go off to group and do great things. And pretty cool.
Yeah, it is, man. Yeah. I see my students all the time because I still live
Oh yeah, I bet.
a decent bit in Clarksville. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I see them out and about, and they'll come up and just randomly hug me. And God bless them, man. I don't even know who, half of them are.
I've taught 500 of you assholes I don't remember.
Yeah, like anybody in Sage, I remember, of course, by name because we had a very intimate relationship. But then I worked in selection for 4 months.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I put
Yeah.
a lot. Basically, everybody knows me through the Q course there, and then taught the pilot team and the area complex class and all that. So like, they all saw me, but like, I don't remember all of them. So I
Yeah.
feel bad sometimes, just like, hey, bro, what's up?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's the biggest blessing on earth, man, to be able to
Yeah.
like train those dudes and like set a good. I tried to be like to have like a good moral example, a good like leader,
Yeah.
rather than just like getting up there and like treating them like crap, talking down to them like
Yeah.
they're not a Green Beret yet or whatever. So,
Yeah. I had uh on that I had I think I was out at a bar here. Forget I don't even remember which bar, and I remember the guy's name.
hmm
I've always been bad with names, but I remembered his face. Like, I think that was one of my students. He was a captain. He came up to me and he's like, "Oh, Sergeant Goodman." Like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And he's like, "Yeah, you were my instructor." I'm like, "Yeah, I remember you." He's like, "Yeah, I just got back from my first whatever trip with group
nice.
and all this stuff, and like that. What was it? It's like, yeah, when I was doing a KLE, I was like, this is just like Sage. And so I actually applied some of the stuff you guys were teaching to us. I was like so thankful to like
Mm.
just be able to get taught that stuff and get absorbed, and went over there and used the stuff I learned in the Q course.
Yeah,
Like, man, that's cool. Like, good for you, dude.
it's the most humbling experience, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's the best feeling in the world because
Yeah.
you're like, I imparted something to this guy, right?
Yeah.
All my screw ups in life, but like something was valuable to this young
I
man.
helped somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's good. Like all that effort. If you just reach one or two students, it's worth it.
yeah. I
It's
agree.
just like it doesn't take a whole lot of people to make a huge difference. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Be the
yeah,
change, man.
it's
Be
pretty
that
rewarding.
bubble bumping into other
Mhm.
bubbles.
Yeah,
Tell us a cool sniper story, man, because like the audience, everybody likes to hear
a
like sniper
cool
stories.
sniper story. They're
Yeah,
never really that cool. Like you think being a sniper is cool until you're like laying in a swamp for a day. Then you're like, okay, being a sniper sucks.
yeah.
Um, cool sniper story. Here's a cool sniper story. So it's hit Iraq. I was an infantry guy. 21 years old. Just been to sniper school, so I think I'm a huge badass.
Yeah. The
We're
one in Benning.
huh?
The one in Benning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All
the
right. All
Benning
right.
one. So we're hiding out in this blown up IP station, Iraqi police. So we're watching up this road. It was like an MSR, and also getting routinely just bombed and stuff. So we needed to just like watch it. So we're watching this road. I'm in the second story of this IP station. Um, so we didn't have any like early warning
Uh huh.
stuff, and there's not enough of us to keep like full security. So I always had this wool, the old green army blankets, the
Yes.
wool ones.
Yes.
So
The
I had
ones.
one of
Yeah.
those in my pack that I'd always use as a backdrop. You put something dark behind you, so it's
Yes.
light outside. you look in, you just see a giant hole. You don't see a guy just standing there with a gun. So I'd always have that with me. And I was like, oh, I have an idea. These panes of glass that are sitting here for no reason, like on the first floor, I'm going to take my blanket, wrap it over the glass, break the glass, and then spread the glass out on the steps, spread the glass out in the hallway leading to our little snipey room.
Okay.
And if someone steps on the glass, we know it's not us, and it's time to either run away or fight or something.
Yeah.
So, I'm my spotter. He's like sleeping. I'm watching through my scope, and we had 3 other guys with us. They're sleeping, and I hear crunching on the glass, and I was like, no fucking way. Like, I just put that there as I thought it was a good idea. I didn't think anyone would start walking up in here.
It would actually work.
Oh my God. So I hear crunch on the glass. I'm like, there's no way I just heard that glass crunch. I'm going to sit here for a second and listen some more. And I hear it again. Like, oh my God. Okay. Maybe it was one of us. So I look, he's down there sleeping, my buddy. Then I kind of like peek out of the room. There's 3 other guys that were with us. They're all there sleeping. One of them's like half awake, kind of. He's starting to wake up. I'm like, yeah, that's someone coming up in here.
Dang.
I don't know if he's bad or good or what, but someone that's not supposed to be here is coming here. So, elbow my buddy. Someone stepped on the glass. He's like, no way, you're not fucking with me. Like, I swear to God. And so I just had my rifle and my shitty little Beretta M9. So I pull out my pistol, and my buddy's with me. He's in front. He's got a rifle, and I'm right behind him with my pistol. And we start going down the stairs and talk about hairs standing up on the back of your neck. It was terrifying. Like, we're about to get shot, or I'm about to shoot somebody.
It's gonna be a fair fight.
Like, from 2 feet from my face. And so I accidentally stepped on some of the glass, and then I hear like crunch, 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 like someone running away. I was like, we got to get out. So then we go up to our team leader. We told him what happened. He's like, we're leaving right now. And we packed up, we left, went back to the fob, probably, I guess, maybe a mile away. It wasn't that far, so we just grabbed our packs, walked back. And the next day, the next morning, a patrol found a bomb that someone had placed at the entrance of that IP station.
They were wanting you guys to come back.
Yeah, it was fresh, like it was just placed, because it wasn't there the day before, because we would have died. We knew it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So, so that was somebody ran away, placed a bomb, and then went about his day.
Some little craphead terrorist.
Yeah, that was a big, close call. But yeah, we made the right decision getting out of there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So
it's weird being in a place where like I don't want to say because that is not true at all, but like it's weird being in a place where you are an active target to be killed constantly. Yeah. It's a very weird feeling.
Yeah. Probably how cops feel.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. I always think like cops have it harder because we can go to this other world, basically, do horrible things, and come back to our normal lives.
Come back to Southern Pines and golf or whatever.
Not worry about a thing.
Yeah.
But cops are just like, yeah, I shot a guy right there yesterday.
Yeah, New York City, LA, Cincinnati, whatever.
Crazy.
Yeah, I would hate it.
How do you do that for like 20 years?
And they never get it's just like up and down, up and down, up and down, you know?
Yeah,
they don't get calm.
Yeah. Wild. Yeah, they don't get paid shit.
No. Completely underappreciated.
Yeah.
It'd be rough, man. So you get approaching like your 20 years and everything. You didn't want to continue staying in the Army?
I thought about it, taking like the big bonus for signing on after 20 years and all that, but just with being in the Army for 20 years is pretty hard on your body. And I had already been feeling it for years. I had already been on a profile, couldn't really like ruck march that far. I couldn't really run that far anymore without being in a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, it's time to call it. I'm
Yeah.
ready to move on, because I don't think there was a day where I was like, I can't wait to get out. I hate the Army. Like I liked the Army till the last day, but yeah,
Yeah,
you
minus
gotta
all the
call it
stupid crap.
sometime.
It was a great time.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. I don't regret the day of it. It was a good time. But
What were you setting your sights on afterwards? Because now you have the freedom to move back to Missouri, to like move to Idaho, whatever,
yeah,
go contract overseas. Like, what were you scheming in your head, like for what's next?
for what's next, I was already thinking about, like, well, I can play golf halfway decently.
Hmm.
Like, try my hand at being a golf pro. So that's what I'm doing now. Um, I'm in the professional golf management program as a PGA member, associate, and just learning the ropes of the golf industry. Working here at the golf shop.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's
You're
been pretty
fully
cool.
immersed,
Yeah,
and you're in this golf. I mean, literally everybody golfs here. This community, like people move from all over the
yeah.
country to come
Cradle
here
of
and golf.
American golf here at Pinehurst. So yeah, you can't throw a rock in any direction and not hit a golf course here.
No, it's true. Yeah,
So it's cool if you're a golfer. If you're not, then I don't know.
still
Might
pretty.
not be much to do if you don't play golf.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, what drive? Because there's a disparity between combat and all the craziness you've done, and then like the peaceful rolling hills of like a golf match where you hear the guy talking in the background about the number 5 ball he's about to use. I know nothing about golf, by the way,
Yeah.
but like it just seems like crazy chaos here, and then like just calmness over here.
Um. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like when you're like a Green Beret, all your extracurricular activities are just crazy things. Like
Mm. Skydiving and
this
riding
guy
Harley.
skydives. This guy's is in a motorcycle club. This
Yeah,
guy likes to do 3-gun matches. This guy, it's everybody does
it
like
is,
some
dude.
extreme hobby or something. Not everybody, but I would say most of the guys I ran across, like, in their free time is also just craziness.
Yes.
But yeah, it's weird to like live a life of just high stress, like go go go, and then it's over, and now you're like, I work in a golf shop.
Yeah.
So
Do you feel like
it's
life is
definitely a change of
boring,
pace.
or do you think that you need this right now? Is it healthy for you?
It's definitely healthy for me. Um, uh, yeah, just being in the army, especially in um, higher level units of the army, it's pretty stressful.
Hmm.
And after 20 years, you're ready to do something different.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, stressed out all the time,
Yeah, that's
and then
crazy.
it's like that for so long and so much that it just becomes your personality, and you don't even notice it anymore
Becomes the norm, yeah, dude.
until someone comes along and they're like, "You have PTSD,"
Hmm.
and you're like, "No, I don't." Like, "Yes, you do."
And
Oh,
they try to use it against you, right? It's like,
yeah,
oh, sorry for deploying. And when you were asking for our country to, young men to go fight, young men and women, and we did, right? And we took all that crap and we killed the bad guys for you so you could live in your peaceful little home here and go to college
yeah.
and do all this
Get your
crap.
buddies.
Yeah, and now you want to poke and be like, oh, well, he has PTSD. He shouldn't have a gun. Oh, he has TBI. He shouldn't be allowed to do this. He
Yeah,
shouldn't have his kids. Like, it's a bunch of bullcrap.
yeah,
Stabbed right in the back when we come home, man.
yeah. It kind of feels like that sometimes, but I don't know. I've never been one to like want any validation from anyone for
Hmm.
what I did or what I was doing. Um, wanted to make sure my family's taken care of and go do my dream job.
Yeah,
So I was fine with it. I would always get uncomfortable when people were like, "Oh, thanks for your service."
it's awkward. Yeah,
Uh,
God bless him, but it's like I don't
you're
know what to say to
welcome,
you.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love America too.
yeah. Just, I don't know. I never wanted to be recognized for anything. I just wanted to go do my job. So yeah, I think I managed to stay away from the spotlight for the whole time,
Yeah,
as opposed to some people who have their Instagram accounts where they're what is it? What's the catchphrase or the mantra he says? It's like Green Beret, Special Forces, Ranger, Sniper.
Oh yeah.
What is his name?
Just going down the list, man.
I probably shouldn't say names.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody who knows knows.
Yeah, because we had a buddy in a school. Yeah, and I remember this now. Yeah,
I've heard some stories.
yeah, that's funny. So how'd the transition go? Like when you were getting out, like was it all pretty smooth? Did you get helped out?
So it's like you've heard, hurry up and wait. It's like, get this done. You'll hear from us in like 2 months.
Yes, totally.
Like, so it was a lot of just like, man, I hope this goes the way it's supposed to, because I'm medically retired, and so there's a lot of just, you medically retired too, right?
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of like pieces that need to come together in the right way at the right time, and
way outside of your control.
Yeah, that are completely out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't come together at the right time, then it's like huge problems, and it might mean that you get screwed out of thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's like high stakes, and you can't do anything about it. You're sitting around just waiting for an answer from this doctor or this doctor or this person at the support center or whatever. So besides that, I think it went pretty smoothly, because I felt like there was a lot of like civilians out there who help you retire who actually care, because they were probably in the same boat however many years ago. But yeah, it wasn't too bad.
You retired out of Fort Bragg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, retired out of Fort Bragg, and then was able to do an internship here at the golf shop for my last 6 months of service, which really like eased the transition. It wasn't just like army, boom. Like, now what do I do? So it was nice being able to do that internship, and then every once in a while come in, do some admin army stuff, and then retired. And then I was like, okay, so now I guess I'm not like a hybrid. Now I'm like a for real civilian now.
Yeah.
So I think that really helped. But then the weirdest thing about retiring so far is like we mentioned earlier, you're trying to find that next thing that you're really, really good at.
Yeah.
Because we used to be really, really good at Green Beret stuff, and we'd like to think that we are still, but probably not really anymore.
Yeah, you get back on the gun and think you're awesome. Yeah. You're like, oh,
I know I can't shoot for shit anymore. Like, I'm not
perishable, man.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I still like to shoot sometimes. Go on the weekend, blast some cans and stuff.
When I don't have to pay for ammo.
Yeah. But yeah, trying to find the next thing to be really, really good at. And so I would say if I could go back, just knowing that, like, try not to get too wrapped around the axle and just relax a little bit. And then also like how I dealt with people when I got out. I wasn't like screaming in people's faces and stuff, but like, you know, in the Army, when something's not going your way with people, you can just whatever. You can yell whatever you want to them, and they'll just do it. Or you can be like, all right, everyone stop. Let's reset this thing. You can't talk like that to people.
Like, yeah, nobody will listen.
In the regular world. So just navigating the civilian world and still getting used to. So, but it's going good. It's going good. And it's nice to have a little change of pace, for sure.
You're still around enough SF dudes here in this area. I mean,
yeah.
You're still like, we got buddies around here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I don't feel so isolated.
Yeah.
And even like coming into the golf shop, you'll see customers come in who are like, that guy looks like he probably used to be an SF guy. And sure enough, he, was in third group for 20 years. You're like, oh, cool. Let's exchange war stories. And so it's cool because you feel kind of connected to your brothers a little bit still.
Yeah.
So it's so that's good.
You're not fully uprooted like some veterans are who get out and they move back to freaking Topeka, Kansas or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So it definitely helps to get out, but still have interactions with people who are like you,
Yeah, I got
you
you.
know, who are going through the same thing because they're retired too.
Hmm.
So,
That's critical, man, because
yeah.
in a lot of this podcast, we talk about people that have had, struggles with transition and so forth, and then encountered some of this stuff that, the PTSD and the TBI, all this stuff that's common, the operator syndrome,
Mhm.
which is like the new thing we're all up on. And when you read about all the issues with that operator syndrome, I read the actual whole report on it, that report from Texas, wherever the heck it was from. And it was great. I mean, it makes a lot of sense when you read about the conditions of that and you look at our buddies and ourselves and some of the issues. You're like, yeah, that freaking lines up. That's a pretty valid,
Yeah.
scientifically backed hypothesis
Yeah.
right now. But have you encountered any kind of issues once you got out, and how have you dealt with them?
Issues with TBI
PTSD and your TBI and all that. Yeah.
um, so I didn't know that I had issues with it until I went down to what's the program called? It's
In Tampa.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to
whatever
think
the
too.
program is
Star.
in Tampa. Not Star. That one's in the Northeast, I
Yeah,
think.
that's right.
It's the prep
Prep. Yeah,
prep
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 program.
program.
Yep.
I
Yep.
went there for 3 weeks.
Okay.
They did like a head to toe. We're going to look at every single injury you have.
Inpatient.
Inpatient.
Was it part of your transition or before?
Before.
Okay.
So I stayed there for 3 weeks in the hospital during COVID, which was pretty much made it like a prison.
Not bad,
But
man. Yeah.
so the biggest takeaway from that was like talking to this psychiatrist, and she's like, "Yeah, you definitely have like you're not freaking out, yelling 'There's Charlies in the trees' type of PTSD, but you definitely have some anger issues, and this and that and this and that. And it stems from PTSD, and you have." They also told me I have a lot of problems with like TBI and stuff. I'm like, wow, that explains why I'm so dizzy all the time. I thought I just wasn't drinking enough water. They're like, no, it's definitely not water.
I remember we would
You
talk
know?
about all the time. Like,
Yeah,
dude, I was talking to my students and I just blanked out and have no idea where I was at, what I was talking about.
right. Yeah.
It was
They're just
frustrating.
like, and they're all staring at you.
Yeah, like
Like,
you're an idiot. You're like,
huh?
sorry guys, what were we talking about?
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So once they once I realized I was dealing with PTSD, then I could start, you know, making it better.
Hmm.
Um, so when I do have like bursts of anger, then I know where it's coming from now, instead of just like, oh, I'm just an angry fifth group guy.
Yeah.
Like I know it's I know it's coming from a certain place, and I have tools to deal with it now.
Yeah, you have a plan and the
Right.
tools. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I can talk myself off the ledge. Like, okay, why am I so angry? Okay, this is why. Okay, not really that important of a thing.
Hmm.
So let's do my tools my therapist told me to do. Calm myself down a little bit,
Yeah.
get back to work or whatever. Um, so it was pretty enlightening going to that place. And then just like stuff I didn't know I had. Like I didn't know I had a piece of a bullet in my knee.
Really?
I'm like, oh, that's why my knee hurts all the time. I thought it was just because I was getting old.
Did they
Like,
take it out?
no. Oh, no, they didn't take it out because they said it's up on a tendon and they don't want to mess with that.
No, that's
So
fully immersed, huh?
yeah, that's like my little buddy.
Yeah, hanging
Yeah.
out in there, dude.
Yeah. Like, oh, yeah. Because I thought my medic got all of it out.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to shoot you up with lidocaine, cut your knee open, get all that shrapnel out, you'll be good. I'm like, okay. So I thought it was all out, but
Hmm.
there's some that was way deeper in there, I guess.
Dang.
Yeah. But what were we talking
Yeah, just like when you're getting out, if you experience any kind of like the lingering PTSD, TBI issues, or if it's gotten better, and how you've addressed it to make it better.
about? So as far as like TBI issues, um, I have glasses that I wear that have like the prism thing in them,
Hmm.
which helps because my eyes are kind of like one's up and one's down because I've been blown up so many times.
Yeah.
Um, and
Changes your balance also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So balance issues, trying to be a golf pro, you kind of need to have good balance to swing a golf club.
Yeah.
So I think I've figured out how to swing for me
Hmm.
while having balance issues and be able to put
Interesting.
up good scores. So every time I'm working through something in golf that's difficult for me because of my injuries,
Hmm.
um, it just reminds me that, like, okay, well, I can work through this for myself, so that way I can teach other people, like people with bad backs, people with whatever kind
Hmm.
of vestibular balance issues. Like, here's what works for me, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because you can do it. You just got to figure out what to do.
And that's ultimately what you, I mean, you transcended. You're now, you coach. You guys
Yeah.
come in here, you fit them up, you coach them on their swing and everything.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that definitely helps you. Having gone through that, you can apply that to their coaching, right?
Yeah, it just helps me be a better teacher. And so I'm actually thankful for it in a way.
Hmm.
Um, when at first I was pretty mad that I'm like trying to play good golf with all these issues.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why am I like this? This, you know, like, why couldn't I have just not joined the army and then just kept on playing golf and I wouldn't have all these issues? But, um, it's just a journey. Like, we go through experiences so we can help others.
Yeah.
So,
You got a lot of wisdom and like good
yeah.
man development, however you want to call it, from 20 years in the military, being around like phenomenal men and women that have brought you up to a level that I don't think if you would have like golfed and traveled around the world or whatever, like you're a different person than you would have been,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yep.
Do you
Yeah.
feel that like being a sniper with your shot sequence, because everything is just about like taking the human, the monkey off that machine, right? And just
Yeah.
letting the machine do what it wants to do, right? And apply everything methodically, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, down the line on the gun. And
Yeah.
now you're doing that similar to
Well,
golf.
it's funny because I think about it a lot. Like when I'm playing golf, like this is just like shooting long range
Hmm.
because you're taking the wind into account, you're taking atmospherics. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
if it's humid outside, or if it's cold outside, the bullet's not gonna travel as fast
Hmm.
because the air is denser. Same with a golf ball. Same
Yeah,
with
that's interesting,
anything
man.
moving through the air, right? So if
Yeah,
it's hotter, your bullet's gonna impact higher because it's maintaining its speed longer.
yeah,
It's the same thing with golf. Your ball's going to travel farther when it's warm because it's warm. The air is more dispersed.
yeah.
So
That's cool.
it's pretty cool. Or like if I hit a shot, make a curve left to right, like that reminds me of like watching Trace and watching like the little matrix bubbles through a scope
Yeah.
where it's
It's like magic,
like,
and you can
yeah,
follow
this is
your
cool.
bullet,
Yeah.
You're like, wow.
And then just like just trying to be so precise with your body
Hmm.
is just like shooting a
Getting down
gun.
on the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is so much like long range shooting, and I just love it so much.
that's
So
cool.
it just kind of connects me to my old self a little bit, which is
I can
fun.
see how you get behind it for sure.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
then, you're faced with challenges in golf and you freak out, you're going to screw everything up.
Hmm.
So stay cool headed. You know what to do. Just do it. If it doesn't work out, then oh well, this is pretty hard shit.
And
It
just like
happens.
shooting, man, just like
So
combat
yeah,
behind a
it's
gun.
just like
You're
being
going
in
through your
combat.
ticks and you're like bam, 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 bam. And since you're going through that and you're checking your wind, checking your level, right, checking your bubbles, getting behind the gun, right, and you're bam, talking to your spotter. And then that takes you out of the realm of like, okay, I'm about to shoot this dude's head off.
Yeah,
And
you're
there's like
just going
bullets
through
coming
your
in over here.
steps,
Yeah,
going through the steps, executing, going through the steps. And so that's what I do in golf too. And
that's
so
cool.
so I think, you know, being that kind of person I was in the army directly translates to golf.
Okay. How long does a game of golf, like 18 holes, take?
Well, it should take about 4 hours, but depends on who you get stuck behind.
Okay.
There's some people out there who decide to move pretty slowly.
Yeah, move on, Greg.
Yeah,
You know?
let's hurry it up.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
watch you. That'd be me. But like,
Yeah.
do you feel that you can get into like a 4 hour flow state, or is that like too long to stay in the zone? Because it seems like golf, it'd be hard. You're going up
Yeah.
to another hole, and you're in your head a lot, right?
Yeah. So that's almost impossible to do that. Stay in the zone for 4 hours straight. So
Yeah, man.
there's a lot of mental gymnastics you got to be able to be good at, well, in combat and in golf, really.
Yeah.
Not like the two are the same at all, but um, like what I mean is like you got to be able to put yourself in the zone and then take yourself out of it. Like when I walk up to the ball, like when I'm walking up to my shot, I'm walking into the box is what I call it. Like I step into the box, now I'm in golf mode.
Okay.
And I'm 100% focused on what I have to do. And after I execute my shot, I turn it off. And now I can bullshit with my buddies, whatever,
Yeah, that's
drink a
interesting.
beer, hang out. And now my next shot, walk back into the box. And now I'm golf mode.
Okay.
So it, you know, it can translate to like when you're training and stuff, like you guys smoking and joking outside the shoot house, and then you get in the stack and it's game on.
Freaking game on,
right?
yeah.
So
I want that door.
yeah, so it's so I was already that type of person. So
That's cool.
So it's pretty cool seeing like how much stuff carries over into civilian life. Not even just golf. Like if you whatever, giving a presentation in an office or something, like you have that, you can put the game face on, right?
And really be a leader and like start teaching people and throwing out information. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
I'm pretty thankful for my experience in the military.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you that. Let me segue into like you have kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many?
2 girls.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yep,
You're blessed.
9 and 11.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty. Yeah, I got a son. He just turned 10, man. And great blessing. That age is amazing. You start to see them change from being your little baby into like their own little adult with their own ideals, their own attitude. And you're like, okay, hands off a little bit. I'm still going to guide you, but like I can see where you're going, bud.
Yeah, it's pretty cool watching them grow up. They're not like little babies anymore. They're like little people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like little mini grown-ups.
I love it.
Yeah.
So they come
awesome.
to you, right, 8 years from now, and they ask you like, Daddy, been thinking about joining the Army or the military. Like, what do you say to that?
Me personally, I would tell them to not join a combat MOS, just because I don't want to see my kids get hurt, and
Yes, your baby.
I know what it's like to go through war and be the guy on the ground, and I don't want them to go through that. But yeah, if they wanted to join the military, then and they had an actual like conviction to go serve, then of course, go.
Okay.
And make the most out of it. Might try to urge them to join the Air Force or something.
Something more intelligent or like different career aspects
Yeah,
outside.
something not so hard on your body and mind.
Yeah,
but something you can still get a lot out of.
Yeah, a lot of education, certifications.
Yeah, because military, if like you're a kid, you don't know what to do, join the military.
They'll give you something. Carpentry, whatever.
Give you something at least for 3-4 years and get out. It'll give you some direction at least. And free college.
That's true.
GI Bill. So.
Well, how do you feel about like the state? Because we talk a lot about this, and we haven't caught up in a while. Like we're saying, like how do you feel about the state of America right now as a veteran?
Man, I really don't know. Like I don't know where we're going because, just the wokeness and stuff. It's consider myself a pretty tolerant person, and to each his own. And I just feel like people need to chill out with all the labels and stuff. And I don't know, like let's just help each other make this place great instead of being so divided. I guess it's more divided than I've ever seen this country. That's I mean, it could go either way.
Everybody's got a hill to stand on now, It's like,
yeah,
this is my hill.
and
You're the
especially
problem.
with social media now, everybody's got a platform. Everybody thinks they're important. Everybody's a celebrity, and just can we just not? Can we just relax a little bit?
Enjoy life, be chill, recognize that that person's a little bit different than you, but we still have all this
Yeah,
commonality, you know, still
yeah, we
American.
have common interests. We want to live in a great country.
Hmm.
Like, let's just stop fighting so much. But
You think it'll change at all for the better?
no, yeah, of course it'll change, but who knows how,
How
you
or
know,
when? Yeah.
how or when, right? So I think some of it's good, like um, like the Michael Brown incident,
Hmm.
and BLM rises up, and like that's the first time I've seen the country really aware of, like, you know what, maybe black people aren't treated that well in this country, and so it was pretty eye opening for a lot of people, and I think we've kind of gotten a little bit better because of that. But then at the same time, then it's like, oh well, but BLM is a terrorist group. Like, okay, well now we're getting away from the actual issue. Like,
Now the founders
like,
buying 5 multi-million-dollar houses in California,
yeah,
while you know the freaking socialist, you know, arm of the Democratic Party latch on to that and then use it as this like threat group to
hmm,
intimidate everybody on the right side.
yeah. So it's just everybody just wants to argue and fight all the time. Ugh, I mean, whatever. Like,
Probably typical America. If you looked at the founding of America to now, I mean, we think it's probably changed from our perspective, but maybe not, man.
yeah,
I mean, they were killing each other numerous times in our history.
yeah, yeah. And then the, you know, revolution of the '60s and '70s and stuff.
Hmm.
This isn't too much different. So
It is like a weird cultural kind of shift, revolution type.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what specific direction it's going to, what's behind it, but it is moving fast.
yeah, yeah. But I don't really look at it through the lens of a veteran, like all the stuff going on in the country, but
Yeah,
just as far as just being a trying to be a decent person, like, let's just all try to treat each other with a little bit more respect.
yeah, the golden rule, man.
Yeah,
You know,
you know, and then everything should work out just fine. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think people just want to be have their face on YouTube or something. You know,
yeah,
not a real career.
yeah.
I know you have a YouTube
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. I
I
mean,
didn't
you
mean
know,
that.
no,
I
I
just
got it.
meant,
I got it.
yeah,
I totally agree with you.
yeah,
It's about just like me, and the ego and the likes that feed off of that, you know, and
yeah.
where it's going,
It's just,
rather than like, what am I doing for their country? That's not what you can do for yourself, but what can you do for your
yeah,
country, those around you, your brothers and sisters.
yeah. It's just absolute vanity.
Yeah,
So
which is all fake. In the end,
yeah,
man, it's fake.
everybody's just clinging on to things that are just gonna be gone, like just standing on shaky ground.
Yeah,
So
I get that, man.
just yeah.
Well, how do you feel? Let me ask you this too, man. Having seen war, what you said, 9 deployments. What do you feel about war? Is it necessary? Is it just?
I think that there are unjust wars and just wars. I think that war is necessary sometimes, but um, I think it should be a little more rare than what it is right now. Um, I'm not gonna, you know, stand on the street corner saying like there should be no more war. Like,
Hmm.
any side of any extreme is probably wrong.
Hmm.
Like the far rights and the far lefts. Like, okay, you guys are a lot more like each other than you think,
I
and you're
bet.
both
Yeah.
wrong.
Hmm.
So, like, we can meet in the middle. Like, war is necessary sometimes,
Hmm.
but not all the time.
Let's
So,
get it over with. Let's kill the Taliban and then leave 3 months later, not hang out here and feed the
yeah,
military-industrial complex.
because then it turns into, oh, cool. Well, how can we make money off of this?
Yeah,
Let's
totally.
make money off of the Afghan people. Like,
And
just
we're not the ones making the money. The
yeah,
politicians and the
exactly.
elitists are making it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's necessary sometimes, but
Hmm.
I think sometimes we get into war for the right reasons, but then it just gets all muddled up with human greed.
Yeah.
So, um,
There's a lot of
yeah,
spoils to war, right? You get a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. It just kind of goes south most of the time.
Yeah,
So,
land, money, resources, oil,
yeah,
whatever,
absolutely.
drilling rights.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the final question to that is, as somebody that's seen conflict and seen kind of ups and downs, dead bad guys, dead good guys, dead brothers, dead sisters, right? What do you feel about God and faith?
I'm a born again Christian. I believe God is real, the devil's real, hell, heaven. It exists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get it twisted. It's real.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was hard having strong faith going through like the army
Mm-hmm.
because like I don't know, there's so many things that you do that aren't very Christian like.
Yeah.
Just bashing people's faces in
Mm-hmm.
and like just cussing, drinking, smoking. Like you're a soldier, you're gonna do soldier shit.
Yeah.
You know, so it was hard to not be a part of that. I should say, because I cussed and drank and smoked and did normal soldier stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I feel like now that I'm out of the military, it's a lot easier to um, be closer to God, which is what I've been working on lately. It's just going back to church every Sunday, making it a point to go to church every Sunday,
Really?
no matter what. Like, I want to go play golf this Sunday,
Yeah.
but is God more important than golf? Yeah. So go to church.
What do you get out of
Like,
church?
what I get out of church is the fellowship with other believers and feeling closer to God. Like, that's a pretty lonely feeling to not feel like you're close to God. You kind of feel like you just like on shaky ground, like I mentioned, like you're just kind of out there treading water in the middle of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
No one's got your back. Um, yeah, it's not a good feeling. So
Like Peter, when Jesus told him to come out of the boat, right? And Jesus is walking out through the water, and it's like a big storm, and they're scared to death. And Peter's like, Do you have no faith? Like, walk out to me, right? He's
mhm,
scared to death, and then he does, but then he trusts Jesus initially, and he starts to walk, and he's like, "Here we go." You can
yeah,
imagine, like, okay, here we go, Jesus, I'm coming. And then he loses faith and gets scared. I guess he sees a wave or whatever,
yeah,
and then bam, starts to sink,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Man, I got a kind of a supernatural story
Yeah, yeah.
about God. So I'm like freshly retired, and I'm like sitting there in my living room, and I'm like, um, about to watch a scary ass movie. I
Hmm.
love scary movies.
Yeah, me too, man.
And I'm like, I look up like, what is the scariest movie on Netflix? I'm looking for like, I want to have nightmares watching this thing.
Hmm.
So, come across this movie. It's supposed to be just absolutely horrible. And but earlier that day, I'd been uh, thinking about like, why doesn't God just like? Because you're supposed to be like looking for signs of God communicating with you and stuff. And I'm like, man, why doesn't he just like come out of the clouds, just talk to me? Like, what's up, bro?
Yeah,
Like, that would be
it's
way
that easy.
easier.
I'd believe it.
So,
Yeah, here we go.
like, yeah, that would be cool. But then, so that night, I'm about to watch this super scary movie, and I still haven't watched it. But this is the reason why. I'm about to watch this super scary movie, and I get like this feeling in the back of my head, like, this movie might not be something that me as a man of faith should be watching. I don't think I should watch this movie.
Hmm.
Like, it's just a stupid, scary movie. I'm just going to watch it. And right then, right as soon as I press play, this big ass spider is crawling up my leg in my house.
Yeah,
It freaked me out so much
yeah.
that I didn't watch the movie. And I was like, man, if that's not God talking to me, then I don't know what is. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's just a weird coincidence, but I'm going to go with that. That's God talking to me.
Hmm.
Don't watch the movie.
You got to look at it. Yeah, I've
Like,
thought of it recently. Like, it's a cup, right? And it's like, if you want to walk that faith and be as good of a man or a Christian as you can be or whatever, like every little bit you pour in there of like drinking on a Friday night, acting crazy, cussing, right? Watching this horror movie and these people getting their limbs shot off and tortured and stuff and thinking
mhm,
that's normal. And then partaking in all this crap, eventually you're going to feel that sin come up, and you're not going to be living that life that you want to be living or that you're aiming for.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I still want to watch that movie, but I know I shouldn't, so I'm just not going to.
It's not making you better. It's not helping you.
Yeah, does that help me on my walk to become a better Christian? No, not at all. So
it's interesting.
So it's kind of things I've been thinking about, like, this thing that I'm about to do, does that help me become closer to God? Or does that help others see God through me? No. Okay, well, I'm not going to do it then. Like, I want to do things that glorify God.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, because I really did not used to be like that. God used to be like one of the last things I'd think about.
Yeah, it was like, what feels good? What's more fun? What's,
I just got back from a deployment. I'm going to have fun.
Yeah.
I'm not going to church. So. Yeah, it's definitely a different way to look at life, and it's a better way, in my opinion, to live. So.
That's cool to hear, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have any parting thoughts for the audience, or?
I don't know. Not really.
No?
You want to learn how to play golf? Come here. I got you.
Well, good to see you, brother. It's an honor, touching base with you again. I consider you a close friend, man, and definitely an honor. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Micah.
See you,
Appreciate it.